so far. They're off.
They are off, and Wesley, what's he going to open with? Well, he's sticking to the time-tested King's Pawn, and it's a French defense from Nodirbek.
And this is the winnerware variation of the French defense that Nodirbek is playing, named after the player winnerware. And this is a very, very sharp system. Bobby Fischer used to favor this system with the white pieces, and players like Botvinnik used to play this with the black pieces. And here you see a very well-known idea. This pawn move is trying to make way for White's bishop to pop out to the side, but first of all he has to guard that pawn that the black queen attacked. And this is all theoretical. I've looked at this position myself quite a lot. I haven't seen Nodirbek play the French defense before, so a slight surprise there already.
Yeah, but these players are so versatile. They can play almost any opening, and we see Nodirbek just develop the knight. Also, Wesley does the same in kind, and you can actually track the advantage of the players by looking at the dashboard background there on the right. And if one color dominates, that means that that side is winning. And whoa, Nodirbek just locking down the center. That means all the tension now has moved to the sides of the board.
That pawn chain in the middle, it looks like a staircase there. They're all locked up though, so they lose a lot of their tension. You know, it becomes a static pawn structure, and that's why Wesley is trying to play on the other side of the board. This move gaining space, maybe the rook can come up into the game, and he's also trying to hit on the dark squares. Nodirbek stops the advance of that pawn, and black's strategy here is normally to get the king to the queen side, the left-hand side, and then break with a pawn. On the other hand, Wesley wants to control the position, control the space, and grind away, use that space advantage to get a notable advantage.
Yeah, and well, you called it there, Simon. The king did go to safety on the left side, but White's king also went to the right, which is an interesting decision because I suspected that the king might stay in the middle of the board. But well, Wesley grabbing space, but that's as far as he can go. And well, Nodirbek playing a very calm Grandmaster move, tucking the king into the corner of the board before he initiates any operations there on the right.
And this bishop move, Ivanka, this is actually an idea taken from Bobby Fischer, the great American champion. Bobby Fischer used this same position, bishop maneuvering, to get that bishop to a better diagonal. You've got to put your pieces on the best squares you can, especially at this level. You're not going to win quickly. You've got to build up the position. I have to say, Wesley So's heart rate is pretty low today, Ivanka. It's normally about 160 by now. Has he been working out or doing some meditation, do we think?
Maybe, or maybe he's just really comfortable with his position. He's playing very quickly. He has a time advantage, and well, he's going to have to use that time because Nodirbek has just broken out into the center, and now with that knight jump. Ooh, did you just see the evaluation bar just move up? It doesn't quite like it. I wonder whether that's because the that knight can get kicked back, and Wesley, he's a principal player. He pushes that knight away.
This is all pretty normal stuff though so far. We saw that little pawn move that black played is aimed at breaking up the center, and this rook move is trying to get ready to open a line for that piece towards White's king. You've got to try and attack your opponent's king, and black is trying to arrange a position where he can just smash open the pawns in the middle of the board and get some counterplay, get some attack against the king. Remember, checkmate, what does it do, Ivanka?
It ends the game.
That's the one. So they got to get there. They've got a long way to go, but that's what they're aiming for. And that bishop, though, diving into a very fearsome position. And this is why I kind of prefer White in these positions, because of that bishop generally.
Right, I'm actually really loving White's position, because once the bishop steps back, you want to keep that bishop on the board. I mean, White has a choice. You know, you can play on the right side, but you also, if you're feeling quite fruity, you can move the rook to the left side of the board and start attacking the black king.
Well, Ivanka, I'm always feeling a bit fruity, and that was a fruity move as well from black. Black's getting ready to open up more lines, right?
I know, this is tense, and Wesley taking some precautions, saying he will keep Wesley guessing.
and they're still just doing a bit of maneuvering around. Wesley trying to play on both sides of the board. He's trying to keep his king as safe as he can. You can see his king there moves out of the line of one of the rooks, getting ready for when those lines open up. And he's basically saying to Nodirbek, he's saying, if you open the position, I'm actually going to be better on that side of the board because I have more space. Nodirbek bringing the queen back to try and get it over to the king side. I mean, the other thing about these positions, I say I do like white, but black always has many attacking chances. And look at the bar now, the evaluation bar. The computer, our god of the evaluation, is saying that black is doing well now because maybe it's just white's king is a bit too exposed.
White's king is very airy, to say the least. And the first moves that jump out to me is either just exchanging pawns in the middle or just pushing forward with the f-pawn. And Nodirbek instead just moving the queen. Maybe he's just playing with Wesley and just saying, hey, maybe we repeat the position a few times.
I think he's saying, if you go move your rook back, let's have a draw, get on to the next game. And are they going to repeat positions? Well, the black knight goes back, the bishop goes back. We could see what we call in chess a repetition 3 times. If you get the same position from both sides doing the same moves 3 times, it's declared a draw because neither side is making progress. But is this Nodirbek who's trying to play for a win? He moves his knight out. Is he going to grab that pawn on the left-hand side? I think that would be very risky. You don't want to open up lines towards your king, do you?
I'm a certified pawn grabber, and that pawn I would never touch in a million years because you'd just be giving life to that rook in the corner. No, 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 no. The action is happening either in the center or the right side of the board. And Nodirbek, wow. Wesley trading, that's a surprise.
Really surprised about that decision from Wesley because his bishop was so great. And look at the time situation as well. This is what makes the Armageddon show so exciting. We get time scrambles every set game pretty much, and now the position's really getting tactical. The king side, the right hand side is opening up. I'm starting to like Nodirbek's position because Wesley's got rid of his best piece, the bishop, and there are lines opening towards Wesley's king.
Yeah, and talking about things heating up, take a look at Wesley's heart rate, up to 148, and the position is getting wild.
It is indeed. Wesley has grabbed the pawn and gone a pawn up, and I love that move, centralizing his queen, but can Nodirbek use those rooks to attack on the open lines, because that would be a key idea there. I mean, does he have enough compensation for the pawn? He's got to prove it. I mean, this is the thing with Nodirbek. He's such an aggressive player, like a young Garry Kasparov. Sometimes he grabs the pawn back here.
He does grab the pawn back, but both kings are really airy, very weak. And decision time for Wesley. Rooks get traded off. And now the rook in the corner has a purpose, and this position is wild.
It is indeed. There's a problem with black's back rank though, and look at the time, 10 seconds, under 10 seconds for Nodirbek. He's got to move soon, and he does. He moves his bishop back to defend his back rank, but Wesley grabs a pawn. This is looking great for Wesley now. He's got the time advantage. It's going okay, but Nodirbek flies in with a check there. It's very complicated still.
Yes, super complicated, and just keep an eye on the clock. That is going to determine everything. And maybe the players are repeating. Maybe we're going to see our first draw in the final of Armageddon. No, because Wesley jumps in with the knight and 4 seconds, making space for the king. And it's the H pawn that is running. How can he handle that one?
If you get the pawns the other side of the board, you get your queen back. And this is a deadly threat, but it's on the clock. Is that pawn going to queen, or is Nodirbek going to get a big attack? Nodirbek has to give up a piece for that pawn. It was just too strong. But now the white king, very exposed.
Yeah, 3, 2, Ooh, Nodirbek living there on the edge, and the queen returns, gives a check, and bishop takes knight, just getting rid of the attackers, but allowing a few checks.
This is crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy. White is a pawn up, but look at the white king. It's completely naked, and a naked king is not a good look. You need to put some clothes on, white king. You're getting too exposed there, and Nodirbek is checking that king as much as he can. I expect Wesley, though, is going to play for a win. He's such a brave player. His heart rate up to 173.
Can he? Oh my goodness
what a move.
me, moving up the board with the king. But that is a risky business, and now the king finds some safety there, but is the rook going to come in with a check?
And it's that king. It looks so exposed there in the middle of the board, but Wesley is defending his king with the knight and with his opponent's pawn. And Nodirbek is still trying to attack, but he can't find a way through at the moment. Wesley just gaining time on the clock there.
Yeah, but it's such a nervy position. Both players repeating moves. Now the rook attacking the queen. Queen is threatening to grab the pawn with check. And suddenly we have a really unusual position where black has a lot of pawns in compensation. Did you see 1 second left on the clock? Checks
everywhere, and it is 2 points up for white with the extra knight. Knights and queens work so well together, but can black keep checking? Can black get a draw somehow by repeating, by checking that king? It's going to be tough if Wesley can... 3-2. Has he lost on time?
No, he's not. No, sorry, I was reading the...
Oh, you got me excited there.
I'm just looking at the clock, and then, well, now the queen is centralized, the knight is good. And now a final pawn has been eliminated. It's just whether Wesley can hold his nerve, and it will be over after all that madness.
Yeah, Wesley should be winning this one because that knight, look how it's working so well with the queen, jumping around, using the holes in black's position. And if the queens ever come off, the end game is going to be winning for white. And the queens are now off. That should mean that Wesley takes this first game. As long as he doesn't blunder, he's a whole piece up. The way to win this is to slowly attack your opponent's pawns with your knight and then use one of your pawns to make a queen. And you can see the black pawns are now dropping, and Nodirbek does resign. What a great game.
And the handshake, and they are off. And you have to remember that the winner of this match will guarantee themselves 40,000 euros. And Nodirbek playing an unconventional opening.
Wow, it's a great opening. It's the Jobava London System. And this is an opening that I suppose I'm a bit of an expert in myself as well. And this is the trendy new variation. And this has been seen quite a lot so far. And now Nodirbek playing a move which I've recommended, funnily enough, pushing the H-pawn, gaining space on that area of the board. Does Wesley know his theory, or has Nodirbek tricked him somewhat? And you can see now white continues to develop his pieces here. And the general idea of white's strategy is at some point, well, if you get a chance, you're going to go bishop takes knight, damage black's pawns. And this move stops that, but it does allow some other options. The white knight can attack the queen, or you can simply defend your pawn. Will Nodirbek castle, or will he attack on the king side? That's a key feature here. And I think the main move here is knight to attack the queen, but he doesn't play it. This move also a very good move.
Very sneaky move, because if the queen were to capture the pawn, the knight would jump to the edge of the board and trap it. And Wesley not really surprised by Nodirbek's opening choice, because Nodirbek did play it earlier on against Humpy Koneru. So that's why he challenges really quickly in the center. I like what Wesley is doing. He's gone back to his powerful, solid style.
Yeah, this is actually a very decent line from black here, and Nodirbek just continuing to try weaken black on the king side here, but it looks like Wesley has done his homework. He has prepared, and this is so important to come to the battle in a good situation. Wesley continuing to develop, and now Nodirbek defending his pawn. Pretty even at the moment. Can white generate, though, an attack on the king side? I do like what white's done over there, but he's still got to open up lines, and it's not clear how he's going to do that.
Yeah, because the problem is, if you do open up those lines, I mean, what are you going to do with the white king? Are you going to let it sit in the middle of the board? Are you going to find a home for it there somewhere on the right? And well, Nodirbek saying, well, the king can wait. What is much more important is to centralize the knight and potentially attack the light squared bishop.
Yeah, this move is another key idea in these London systems, the Jobava London, the straight London system. The center of the board is key, and Wesley just playing a very solid move there, maybe getting ready for his knight to retreat to try to swap off the white knight, because you've got to try to get rid of your opponent's most dangerous troops. Again, it's like in a battle. If you see one of your opponent's troops killing everyone, you got to get rid of that guy. He's doing all the damage. And Nodirbek continues to develop here. He's got pieces lined up against Black's king, but can he open up that area of the board?
Yeah, and Wesley just playing very calmly, centralizing the rook. It's like he's oblivious to the brewing attack that Nodirbek is potentially generating there on the right side.
Love this move, Ivanka. I was going to say this is the move to play. Swing the rook around. We call this the rover, the rook over. And the rook is adding more firepower to the attack here. But Wesley, can he keep his cool here? He just puts his king in the middle. I have to say, I am a big fan of White's position, because there's a lot of fire there looking at Black's king.
Yeah, but with Wesley's last move, it's not just tucking that king away from trouble, but there is the opportunity to go pawn hunting there in the middle. And Wesley is a little bit greedy, not quite in pawn grabber territory, but talking about pawn grabber territory, the knight has jumped into the middle of the board.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a decent move, but again, that might be a mistake, because look at the bar on the right-hand side. It is saying that Nodirbek has a good move here. I think you've got to eliminate that knight. That looks like a forced move. Then it's knight c4. That is the move. You take the knight, and then you retreat your knight in the middle to attack Black's queen. The Black queen would be trapped. This is a really strong move. What is Wesley going to do after this? Well, this was, I think you take with the bishop was better.
Take with the bishop, yeah, exactly.
Because, hang a minute, knight c4 again is a dangerous move, but you don't trap the queen. I just don't think Nodirbek saw this idea, because knight c4, now the queen can move forwards. It couldn't have done that if you'd have captured with the bishop in the middle of the board. That was a big missed opportunity. The knight goes there anyway, but this is the difference. The queen has a square. If the knight was still on the board, White's knight, you just take the queen here.
Yeah, but Black isn't out of the woods just yet, because Nodirbek has stepped back with the bishop and is still eyeing up the Black queen. So the knight can still jump forward to the center. The rook is still going to go over. Oh, it's still pretty dangerous for Wesley.
It is, but he's got twice as much time as Nodirbek, so if he uses his time, he's got great defensive chances. And this move, well, what has Nodirbek played? He comes in with the bishop, attacking the rook, attacking a pawn, and the Black queen is still in a lot of trouble, just as you said.
And now the knight can centralize itself and go to attack, and that's why, well, Wesley has to roll the dice now. He just has to initiate some trades, maybe even some sacrifices to get that queen out of dodge.
I think Wesley will have to give that rook up, as you say, Ivanka. That rook is attacked by White's bishop, but it's too slow to move it. And he does. Well, he attacks the queen. A nice counter-attack there. And this means White has to do something about his queen. He doesn't want to allow Black's bishop to take the queen there. So he has to put his queen on a very passive square, which is a little bit annoying for him.
It is a little bit annoying, but still Wesley has to deal with Wesley, ever the resourceful Grandmaster, throwing his pawns forward, sacrificing the rook, but it is randomizing the game.
Yeah, and now Nodirbek does go points up. He grabs the rook, worth 5 points with his bishop. There's a check thrown in there, but at some point Wesley's going to have to take that bishop, and Nodirbek's going to be 2 points up. But is 2 points enough in this random position here? Well, first of all, the queen comes in with a check, and now we get this. There is some compensation here, because White's king has got a little bit of air around it. It's kind of not particularly well defended here, but White must be doing well here, Ivanka.
Yeah, White must really be doing well. It's got the bishop, it's got the bishop defending everything. The knight is well placed, and Nodirbek there defending against the attack on c2.
And this is the strategy, remember from the last game, that you use when you have more points. Swap pieces off. And with that last move, White is aiming to swap pieces off. But what a clever move from Wesley. His knight was a very bad piece, and now the Black knight has found a very good square. Look at Black's 3 pieces, the knight, the queen, and the bishop. They're all very near to the king, and there goes a big check there. This is typical Wesley, playing really resourceful and amazing chess, and that king looks very, very weak at the moment.
It is shaky, and it's now possible for Wesley to grab the pawn with check, and Nodirbek is counting on the rook intercepting that check. Yep, there it is.
But there's another check here. The bishop can check, and there's very nearly a perpetual here, and a perpetual means if you repeat the position 3 times, it's a draw. But Wesley just moves his queen away, and Nodirbek has lost the pawn in that process.
Yeah.
And I don't like the way this is going for Nodirbek.
Yep, and now the knight jumps in and locks out the white rook, and Wesley just improving the placing of his pieces, and now a trade, a check. King runs to the corner. Oh no, Wesley grabbing more material, and Nodirbek now just opening up lines for the rooks.
Yeah, and he is winning a pawn there, Nodirbek, and he still has that rook. What is the material count? The material count is actually even at the moment, but it's all down to whose king is safest. And there is... there's no time here. And you can see the pieces are flying off the board here. That is a very useful pin. I think Wesley is okay here if he keeps his cool, though. And his heart rate is ginormously high. And he's just got to keep checking. Look at him. A little shake there from Wesley. He's got to move.
5.
He's got to move soon.
Okay. Oh, he's keeping us on tenterhooks. And now Nodirbek just moving the rook to shield the king. Giving a check from Wesley. Wesley defending that knight with a pawn. But he has to find a good hiding place for the king. What is Wesley gonna do against this threat? The rook is threatening to come down to the 7th and start giving some very unpleasant checks. King tucks itself in the corner.
And here comes the rook. White's rook must dive in now with a check. That would expose. He didn't do it. He moved his queen first. I don't know why he didn't check there.
He's got just 3 seconds.
3 seconds on the clock. And he can come in. There goes the rook. This is very dangerous for Wesley.
3,
and
2,
is there a checkmate here? It looks very close. Oh, I mean, Wesley just pushing that pawn and praying. Push and pray. And Nodirbek's got to move. He's got a big attack.
And Nodirbek just also down to 6 seconds on the clock. And the black king is on the verge of getting checkmated, but it's not quite good enough. And wow, Wesley just advancing those pawns.
Look at their hands. They are both shaking here.
No.
And that is a key move from Wesley. He's able to swap the queens off, making his king a lot safer. He should now be over the worst, but there's still a bit of danger. There is one pawn there taken with check. Can Nodirbek win this ending? I think Wesley's going to be doing pretty well here. I mean, but you never know.
Yeah, and there goes the pawn, and now the A pawn is going to go on a big roll. Now the knight is going to come in and block everything, and it is game over.
It is.
Wesley so winning.